right, good morning, all of my world history students. This is what you will be doing this week. I'm giving you one kind of long weekly assignment plus your assessment over pandemics in total to make your 2 assignments that are due this Friday. So you will start with this one. We're going to read this one out loud together. Spanish Influenza of 1918 Learning Guide. So before reading, we need to look at this source. It is from 1918. So take a look at the picture. Pause this video and examine the picture for 2 minutes. Okay, now you should move on to answering the questions. Number 1, is this a primary source or a secondary source? So think back. This is from 1918. It is from history. So does that mean it's primary or secondary? Write your answer here. What type of source is this? Put an X next to the correct type or describe it in other. Is this source a piece of art, a legal document, a map, a speech, a diary or journal, a photo, advertisement or news, or something else, other? Pause this video and answer that question. Who do you think created the source? I think the person that created this source is blank. Describe here who you think created the source. Number 4, why do you think they created this source? I think this person created this source because. Number 5, what are 2 things that happened in 1918 that you learned from this source? The 2 things that happened in 1918 were a blank and a blank. So you need to write in here and here. Pause this video and answer 3, 4, and 5. Now you need to move on to the during reading section. In 1918, millions of people got sick. What made them sick was something called the flu. Many people called it the Spanish flu because the Spanish government created the most news stories about the flu. It happened at the same time as many countries were finishing World War I. Flu facts. Influenza or flu is a kind of virus. The flu virus affects the body's respiratory system. The respiratory system includes our lungs. It is how we breathe. It is easy to catch the flu if other people are sick with it. They cough, meaning it comes out of their mouth and makes the sound like or sneeze little drops. Comes out of their nose like achoo! So they cough or sneeze little drops that have the virus in them. If someone else breathes in those tiny drops, they can get sick. A flu pandemic happened in 1918. Hospitals filled up. Doctors and nurses didn't know what to do. They had no medicine to make people better. The doctors and nurses got sick too. Millions of people died. The flu takes a heavy toll on society. Stores and schools sometimes closed. Churches closed. Farmers had vegetables rotting in the fields because there was no one to help. Cities posted warnings. Don't shake hands. Wear gloves. Some city governments made people wear masks to stop the flu from spreading. In the spring of 1919, the flu pandemic ended. Since those days, doctors have learned a lot about the flu. Almost 100 years after the pandemic, doctors learned why so many people died. They now have better ways to treat the effects of the flu. So now that you've finished reading, you move on to your after reading questions. So finish the sentences below. Coronavirus and the Spanish flu are similar because. Coronavirus and the Spanish flu are different because. Pause this video to answer these questions, then come back so we can talk about your last task. All right, so then the last thing you are going to do today is you are also going to take a quick pandemics test. It is not the same as traditional tests, but it should help me see what you have learned from our pandemics unit the past 2 weeks. So first you need to put your first name and your last name. You need both. Next, you need to tell me which pandemic you think was or is the worst. Is it the Black Plague, the Spanish flu, or the coronavirus? Which one do you think was the worst, the most bad? Why do you think that pandemic is the worst? Finish this sentence here. I think Black Plague is the worst because. I think Spanish flu is the worst because. I think coronavirus is the worst because. Describe here why you think it's the worst. Think of the effects on the body. Think about how many people died. Think about which ones have treatments or cures. Think about which ones had the worst effect on politics, the culture, or economy. And give me your answer here. That's all we have for this week. If you have questions, you can email, text, or phone call me on the number on Google Classroom. Thank you and have a good rest of your week.